really important to keep the epoxy off your fingers. Just do there is glued that wire in there. Not smart. Get a rag and wipe off that. Get a rubber band to hold that in place. Make sure it's in place. And I'll let that set up and we'll get the wiring done. Okay, so I'll take a drill and that same 1/4 inch drill works pretty well. And I'll drill through this hole here. Now this one needs to be elongated because you need to be able to fit one of these females through there. So it'll have to be elongated so that happens, okay? And then I go to a smaller bit, about 1/8 of an inch bit. And I'm going to drill this one out. I don't know if I want to use this one. I think I kind of prefer just this upper one. Then I like to drill a hole here. And this upper member here. And another hole here. Right there. And what that allows you to do, the controller is on this side, so it allows you to run one connector through here, connect to that gear. Another one goes through here. Now these are, check polarity to that gear. And the other one goes to here. Check polarity. So that allows you to hook up all 3 gear, and this connection will go to the controller. Now, what I like to do is the reason these wires go into the main gear so long is because you need that extra length to be able to disconnect it and drop it into the fuselage. Now I'll push this little heat shrink pack into that hole, and that stows that nicely. This will reach up to your controller. Then I like to zip tie this wire here, this wire here, and this wire here. And that kind of will stow everything, and then the the wires will kind of hang out of the way. Let me just... I asked him to supply a few zip ties with this set, but I don't think they did. There should be enough extra zip ties anyway in the now. I have a tendency to want to zip tie the heavier wire because these landing gear wires look so light, and I'm always scared that if I zip tie the landing gear wire, when this is hanging from the wire when you're doing the install, you'll damage the wire. But the bad thing about that is if you want to take off your main gear, you got to cut these zip ties. So you can make that decision on your own whether you want to zip tie it to the lighter wire or to the heavy wire. Keep this one up so it's out of the way of your battery. And that's the basic install. These can be removed. I don't even know why I have two on here, to tell you the truth. I think one would do just fine. So that now can hang, be installed into the fuselage, and this slid back into position, and then your hand reached in there. You actually have this still kind of free and over to one side, and you can reach your hand in there and you can tighten up these two screws. I probably could have gotten away with this one. If it's hard to get to that back one, you probably do just one just fine, because they really take no load. They just keep the boards pushed together. And that's the landing gear installation. The kit comes with a template, or should come with a template. This is something I supply. It's got the main gear, a line on the back, a center mark, and the nose gear with the center mark. This one's cut out already. I cut these openings up with a Dremel. But there's a scribe line, a panel line on the back of the body kit, on the body scale body. This back, there's two of them parallel with one another. The back one, so if you cut this paper template, cut out the where it's marked in a pen, just cut them out with a razor blade or X-Acto knife and cut this off. You can center this mark up and this mark up on the front mark up on the fuselage. And if you feel, when you get it and tape it on, and when you get it in a location, if you feel these knobs right here, you can kind of get a feel for where that line is relative to those knobs, and you can get a better feel to make sure you got it centered back here. And you can also do it with these knobs here. You can make sure that feels centered on that piece of paper, and you can make sure you get this right in the center. If you use a Dremel tool with a cutout wheel, you can get these cut out pretty quickly, and then maybe clean them up with a file or something. I haven't cleaned these up, I've just cut them out. But that'll get you a fairly accurate hole. The main gear is actually pretty much exactly scale, except I've pulled it forward an inch and pulled it in, I think, about a ½ inch. And the reason I did that is if I didn't do that, these cutouts would be on the sides. So the scale doors actually reside on the sides. These knobs right here are for wheel clearance. So if you were to get the gear in the exact right location, if you wanted the gear in the exact right location, if you wanted to do real scale landing gear doors, you would, in the folded position, you would position the landing gear so that the tire would align itself with this bump. That's exactly why this bump is here, because the tire was a little bit bigger than they expected and they had to bump the fuselage. Now to do that, you'd have to move this bulkhead aft or cut some of it out down in there. I'm not sure how you would do it, but it's definitely possible. I've seen some guys out on the web do a pretty good job. But the geometry of the gear, where this gear, the real one doesn't retract exactly 90 degrees, so this one comes up a little higher. It really retracts about 80 degrees, so in the fully retracted position, this gear hangs down about another 10 degrees. But this axis of retraction, as far as this angle here, and the swing angle of this main gear is exactly correct per the aircraft, so at least the gear motion will be right. And then with these bends in here, which are exactly the way they do it with the main gear, when this is down, these struts will be perfectly vertical. And this one's pretty much exactly the way the real one does it too. They're pretty much 90-degree retract systems in there. So, of course, this is a lot easier with the wing not on, but you'll get the general idea. I'll take these two screws out, open up my canopy, and the idea is that, sorry, the camera's too close. The idea is that this gear can be set in place with this body disattached, and then you can get this hooked up or slid in there pretty easily. Now, you don't want to get the fuselage fully installed. When you get it to this point, you want to leave the, of course the wings will be on, but you want to leave the fuselage loose, and you want to try to push it over as far to this side as you can. And then if it's over to this side, you should be able to get your hand in here and get, you can push up through the bottom here, get that other side flush. And if you all glue it together like I said, it lines up perfectly because you glued it. And you can just snug up these two fasteners. Then you can go ahead and fully install your body with the wing, and then your landing gear will be pretty close to the correct position. You may have to do a little bit of tune-up. And I'll get this gear, I'll get a controller on this and get this wired up, and we'll go through the configurator program and what you have to do with that to get it to actuate.